recent mounting red flags that are happening over there, and I have some friends with money in there despite my previous warnings to them, and they're starting to get a little queasy and tight around the collar. So in this video I just want to break down my process of evaluation here about recent events and what's happened based on the past, and history tends to repeat itself. I've over a decade of experience witnessing these things from the sidelines, and you start to see patterns emerging when there's about to be a rug pull. This video, warning, it's going to step on some toes, but stepping on your toes is going to be a minor inconvenience compared to the sledgehammer that may come down on your toes if what I predict is about to unfold. And keep in mind, anything that you hear in this video, any other video, or anything that you read is purely speculation, and they could prove me wrong. They could last another 3 to 5 years, but this is about protecting your risk capital, protecting your downside, and hopefully avoiding any major losses if you have over leveraged yourself. Because even if you were trading in Forex yourself and the money was fully in your control, you should only be using money you can afford to lose. Forex comes with a lot of risk. You can over leverage yourself if you're not using the proper risk strategy, and macro events, fundamentals can move the market and create big moves that can cause massive drawdown. I've been in Forex as well for over 3 years, so I'm quite aware of what can happen there too. So there's mainly two types of people watching this video right now. Some of you are on the sidelines doing your due diligence, considering whether or not to get involved in CashFX, and some of you are already involved. Either way, this video is for you. So let's start out with one of the major red flags that has been surfacing recently, and that's the delayed payouts. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this over the last 10 years, and it doesn't really matter what context they explain it in or what excuse that they use, but it always plays out the same, and it's always directly correlated to, I guess you could call it, the product life cycle, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So here over at Google Trends we can see a graphical representation of the popularity and search volume for CashFX over time, and it follows the traditional product life cycle of growth, maturation, saturation, and decline. Right on the money. Every time you see this decline phase, you'll see these types of companies start to blame a DDoS attack on the website, or they'll start to delay payouts, or they'll say they're switching to a different payment processor or a different payout solution. A second confirmation of that, we can use Alexa.com over the last 90 days. Again, traffic hitting the website, we can see that that's on the decline. And this is usually a clear indication that the only source of revenue is new people joining the company. So that once that starts to decline, they start to push out payment. Now, one of the things about CashFX is there's no tangible evidence of Forex trading taking place. Any Forex trader worth their salt, especially if they're using expert advisors, algorithmic trading softwares, they're going to be connected to something like MyFXBook or FX Blue, which shows verified trading performance, and you'll usually see a green tick here that the track record's verified and trading privileges are verified. And you can see all types of statistics and metrics and performance data here for the trading. But nothing like that exists, unfortunately, with CashFX. This would provide the transparency that people need, where they could see a correlation between the trading pool and what's actually in these accounts over at EverFX. Speaking of EverFX, they claim to have had a partnership with that Forex broker, quite a well-established Forex broker, but EverFX have denied this, and CashFX have recently pulled this down from their website, but you can use something like Wayback Machine, which takes screenshots of websites in the past, and you can see where it was on the website, but they've recently pulled that as well. If you're involved in CashFX, you may recognize this gentleman right here. He's one of the supposed traders that are trading your money with CashFX. And unfortunately here we see that he's actually a taxi driver. Now, I saw quite a cringeworthy interview on stage of supposedly 4 traders behind CashFX. And again, any trader worth their salt can tell you about Fibonacci retracement, support, resistance levels, you know, how they avoid fundamental high impact news events, but they were literally stumped at every corner with the most basic questions, and clearly based on their retreat when they were asked a question, it's a clear indication that this is not somebody that I would be allowing to manage my money in any way, shape or form when it comes to trading. So this is something that you also need to factor into your due diligence. And this gentleman right here has actually been collecting a list of financial institutes that have given official warnings about cash effects. Now, if you're running a truly transparent and legitimate business, it's unlikely that you're going to see this huge volume of warnings from such a broad spectrum of countries here. So again, that's something that you need to consider, my friend. If you have money in cash effects, I would be working towards getting your initial principal out as quick as you can if you haven't already done so, and hopefully that's a strategy that you are following anyway. Now, a considerable amount of leaders and marketers that have been pushing cash effects from the beginning have a notorious track record of not only being program hoppers and jumping into the next shiny object as soon as things start to deteriorate, but also the majority of the things they've been involved in are no longer here. So only play with money that you can afford to lose, my friend, with these types of games and programs. If you're using money that's making you queasy and keeping you awake at night, it means you've over leveraged yourself. It means you're using money that you perhaps need for rent or put food on the table. Please only play with risk capital, play smart, protect your money. That's rule number one. And rule number two is don't forget rule number one. And that's how you stay in this game long term. If you need help sifting and sorting through this shark infested waters and you want to find something and leverage my due diligence that I do when I research projects, I meet the owners, I look for full transparency. And if you want to see something that actually has trading that's audited by one of the largest accounting firms in the world, KPMG, that has over 200,000 employees in 154 offices around the world, who audit companies like Rolls-Royce, Deutsche Bank, Hershey, so that you know that your investment and your capital is protected and every trade is verified and there's full transparency. You can visit wealthwithdefi.com. You're also going to get access to our VIP newsletter where you'll receive first movers advantage and be the first to hear about some exciting projects that are taking place on the blockchains that you can get in at the ground floor and catch the momentum. So I hope you got some value from this video, my friend. Be sure to subscribe, check out some other videos, and